I'm here with Emilie Toups, founder of Toups Skincare, mother of 5, and just organic skincare genius. And I'm so excited to have you here because you've sent me a bunch of your products already, and I just told you Timmy's obsessed with the men's body wash. I feel like there are obviously so many skincare lines out there, so many claiming to be organic, so many claiming all these different things, and it's very confusing for us as a customer. So let's get started by telling us just like about your story and how you like started Toups and what inspired you to want to do this in an industry where there is a lot of clutter and conversation about this.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.
So excited to be here and chat with you. And I definitely want to like share about my story. So the way we got started was not like intent to have a business at all, right? Okay. Our oldest daughter, our first child, was born and had really severe eczema. And, you know, taking her to the doctor, getting steroid creams, like all the things. I was a really young mom and like didn't really know what the solution could be, but them saying like, oh, she'll just be on steroids forever, like that was the answer, makes you go, that there's no way, like that can't be the answer. And that was the only answer. So I started doing my own research and like on my own was like, how can we fix this? Is it diet? Is it environmental? Is it the products that we're using on her? And we started with diet because we were very much living a standard American life, eating and living very, conventional. And so when I started learning more about food and we started changing that immediately, like the next rabbit hole is your personal care products and like what we were using on her. We were using Johnson & Johnson. We just were doing like the normal standard American thing. And so I learned about tallow and like all of the anti-inflammatory properties of it. And I literally was like so desperate. Like, what could it hurt, right? So I literally reached out to a farmer that I knew was like taking care of their animals better and asked them, do you have any tallow? And they were like, what is that?
Yeah. I'm even like, I hear the name,
Right?
the word all the time. I'm like, what
And
actually
this was
is
like
it?
2013.
Yeah.
And it was before tallow was like a trend.
All the rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they went back and they were like, let me ask my butcher and I'll get back with you. So she was able to get me just like a big chunk of beef fat and just delivered it to me like that frozen. And I like grinded it up in like a home, like just a kitchen.
You like just
in the
Googled like
KitchenAid.
what to do, like
Yes.
how to make tallow
And then
out of fat.
just baked it and rendered it down till it was oil, strained it. And that, like, I just started putting it on her just like that. And I was so impressed. Well, we were using nothing on her at that point, just water, because I was just worried about anything that we put on her skin. So we put on the tallow and it was so transformative for her. And like what I saw that I was like, no going back.
Right.
Like this is
a miracle.
right.
Yeah.
So then I started actually making it into a skincare product for her and giving it away, friends, family. And this was 2013, right? People were like, it's what?
Yeah.
Like,
like what am I putting on my face?
What is this made of? And even like on their skin, like anywhere, like I was putting it in all of her creases because it was like oozing and cracking and, I was trying to like keep it hydrated. But the tallow is so anti-inflammatory that it was also like pulling out the redness and it was drying it up. And so I was so impressed. I was like, I'm sold. Like that's it. And obviously that was in addition to dietary changes also. She's like 1 year old by this point. And I'm taking her off of things like rice cereal and grains and those inflammatory.
And dairy too.
And dairy, like all of everything.
That's so challenging.
And so, but that information wasn't given to us by her pediatrician or by the doctor, right? I had no idea. And it was like up to me it felt like to figure it out. And so as I started giving them away and people started liking them, I was like really not impressed, but like surprised that people were willing to try it. One, that weren't desperate. And so I started selling them like on Etsy. If you make a batch in your kitchen, it might make 20 and I might not need 20. So I was like selling them on Etsy and it started to grow and like people started ordering them and was totally blown away. So like no business plan, no plan to grow it into a business. And that's kind of where we
How it
got
started.
Yeah.
I think that's how the best businesses are born though,
Right. Totally
sometimes,
agree.
and like we talk about that on here all the time about just going for it. Like you don't have to have a whole strategy and like 20-year business plan. Like it can, if you have a product that's great, people will find it and want it. So, okay. So your first product was just the straight up tallow balm that you could put anywhere. And you can put it all over your face. You can put it all over your body.
Tallow and olive oil. Just
Okay.
two ingredients.
So does tallow not clog the pores?
So that's such a great question, right? Because right now we're seeing like on TikTok, dermatologists coming out and like debunking tallow, saying tallow clogs pores, it's comedogenic. And so my response to that, and I've now been using tallow on my face almost 15 years. And so is that's not true. Okay. And the reason I think that they are saying that is because there are some studies that are showing tallow to be comedogenic. So let's talk about tallow. So tallow from grass-fed cows that is cold rendered, which is low and slow, preserving the nutrients and the available vitamins and fatty acids, is not going to be the same thing as like a high hexane extracted, high heat, deodorized tallow from CAFO cows, right? Okay. That's not the same. So I like to compare it like to people that, especially like in the crunchy community of like ultra high temp pasteurized milk and like raw milk. They're not the same at all. And so in tallow, there also is like worlds difference in like how it's sourced. And so I was sourcing from grass-fed cows and rendering it low and slow. And we continue to do that to this day. We still hand render all of our tallow in-house in the same method. And so has that tallow been studied? I don't think so. So I'm wondering like where that study came from, because, you can't ignore the review upon review of people that have used it and myself that use it on my face daily who don't have that issue. Is it for everyone? Probably not. Is there anything that's really for everyone? No. So, but my response to that is I don't think that it is. And, I've got some proof to back that up.
Yeah. So how do you use it on your face morning and night? The frankincense face balm.
So I use it as a moisturizer.
Okay.
And during the day, you just need a pea-sized amount. So less is more. And I think a big complaint of some people that use tallow is they want to use as much as they would use of a conventional product when you really need way less, right? A little goes a very long way.
Because it's like so emulsive, like it's so moisturizing.
And it's just like dense, right? There's nothing that's watering it down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just, do my skincare routine, and that's the last thing.
Right.
To lock in that moisture.
Okay. This is amazing because Timmy has like psoriasis and a little bit of eczema and in spots where it's extremely uncomfortable for him. And he's tried everything too and like has antibiotic ointments and all this stuff. And like nothing works. Yeah. Nothing works. And I have been lazy. Like I haven't been like you and taken the time to like do all the things, even in moderation. Like I will use some organic products and some non-organic products. And I eat non-organic things and fried things and disgusting things. And I also eat like really healthy things. And I really believe in moderation with all of that. Are you kind of like that? Or now that you have gone down this rabbit hole and have figured out how bad all this stuff is, like you have completely banned all those things?
I think it depends. Yeah. So sometimes yes, but definitely like 80-20, 100%. We live in a toxic world. Yeah. There's no getting away from all of the toxins. But when it comes to personal care products, I'm kind of a purist, and it's because if you look at the EWG studies that say women use an average of 12 products a day, some more, and that in 168 chemicals in those, and you're using those 7 days a week, 365 days a year, we're seeing in our country such a decline in hormone health, in fertility, and especially when it comes to like younger girls. Like, so my daughter, who is the reason that we started Toups, is 14 now. And she wants to wear makeup and she wants to do a skincare routine. Like she sees mom doing it and she's very interested. And I can't, with the knowledge that I have, allow her to use products that I know are going to impact her hormonally for the rest of her life. I love her too much.
And you know too much.
I created this for you. Like this is what and she's happy and excited to use it. And especially the makeup line is so high quality that she doesn't feel left out. And it's not like the makeup that was in the early 2000s in the health food store. Like we have far graduated, right? Far graduated from that. And so, but in other things, moderation is key. I have 5 kids. There's no way that I could be a purist and be sane. And so I focus on, they have really good nutrition at home, and we go out to eat. They, I buy them 100% natural fiber clothes, and then they wear they're in sports and they wear things that it doesn't, like, I don't care.
Right. Right.
I want them to live their life and live in the world and not be afraid of the toxic world that we live in, because that is just life. And so I think that the stress of worrying about it is worse than the actual chemical burden of the 20%. And so we do the best that we can, and we let the rest fall. Now, if someone was in a health crisis, it would be different. But my kids are healthy and vibrant, and we do 80-20, and that works really well for us. And there's just a couple things that we don't budge on.
Right.
And that's
just one. Yeah.
And I think that it's a healthy mindset and a great way to live.
Right. What about red dye?
That's a no.
That's a hard no.
Now, I will say this, like, let's say, so I have older kids now. They're 12 and 14, the 2 older ones. And if they go to a birthday party, I'm not going to be there. If they choose to eat high fructose corn syrup, if they choose the red dye, that's their choice. And when they come home, they can feel the consequences of it. And they say, that doesn't make me feel good. So I'm not saying, don't forget when you go to the birthday party, if it's ready, avoid it. I'm letting them make their own choices. I think that's a very healthy way for them to learn what makes them feel good and what doesn't. And so now, at least my oldest, who's the most sensitive, will absolutely refuse, because she's like, I don't want to feel bad for 2 days. And so I'm happy. And then my son, who's 12, which girls and boys have completely different outlooks on life.
Completely.
He will straight up eat the donut with red sprinkles and not even care, not one bit.
Not care
and
about the consequences. And
then he'll come home and say, you know what, I ate at the party and now my stomach hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, well, that's the consequences of those choices, and they're your choices to make now that they're older. So
so much more reactive. My son is like that too. And I work with a nutritionist. So a lot of these conversations I'm having all the time as well. Yeah. And I used to be very much with Sunny, like, eat whatever you want. Like, I want you to feel how this all feels, and then you make the choices, and also while giving healthy options.
Yes.
But it's the same thing. Like, I'll still give him the choices. He usually goes for the unhealthy one, but then like an hour later wants something healthy to like make him feel better.
Right.
So I think for us, it's all about giving the choices as opposed to steering in a certain direction.
Exactly.
Because I feel like when the parents go too far in a certain direction, that's when the kids like want to rebel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want them to be 18 and they've never had XYZ.
A Cheeto.
Right. And they're just like, but I think in our family, we do a really great job of giving them the same choices, but like a healthier alternative. Yeah. And so, like, for example, lesser evil, they have an avocado oil Cheeto. And probably the majority of my kids haven't had a real like brand Cheeto, but they don't even know that they're missing out on it. And I think that if they tasted it, they'd be like,
ew, this is disgusting.
Right. Because that's all they know is like the other version.
It's true.
Outside of our home, they definitely get exposed to conventional stuff. And then either they realize it and don't like it, or sometimes they like it.
Yeah.
And they come back and they were like, that was really good. And I was like, well, and now how do you feel? And it's like, not that great.
Yeah.
Well, it's good for them to just kind of understand those nuances on their own.
Completely.
Sure.
And have the trust in themselves to make those choices. Yeah. So your first product was the balm, the tallow balm, and that is like selling like hotcakes. And so what's your second product?
So after we were making tallow and Elise was a little older, she's digging in my makeup bag and she wants my lip gloss. And I'm going to completely admit that I opened my makeup bag and I was embarrassed for myself because I knew better. And I never, like, as a mom, you put yourself last and you're like the best for the kids. And I'll think about my things later. And so I'm looking in there and I know there's like probably like lead in this lip gloss or whatever. And she's putting it all over cheeks, face, eyes, everywhere. And I was like,
think about
no,
lead. Yeah.
no. And so I was like, I want really high quality, like performance based, but clean makeup. And so that's when we started on the makeup side of the skincare company. And it's been so fun and so great. And I love it, right? Because I'm like, people are like, what's your next product? And I'm like digging through my makeup bag, like, what's the next thing that I want?
Yeah. What do we need?
And so it's been a really fun and exciting journey.
Yeah. So it starts with you making everything in your home to now probably having to like outsource and work with a lab and all that stuff. So talk to me about the building of the business and going from like selling on eBay and doing it yourself to having like a multi-product collection.
So when I was pregnant for our fourth, we were still making it like at our house in a space close by. And when I got pregnant for him, I was like, I cannot have someone at my house. Like I have really hard pregnancies. I felt terrible. And I was like, these people have, like, I want to lay on the sofa in peace. And so we moved to a facility like 20 minutes away. And it was small. It was like maybe 1,800 square feet. It was like very small. And we were manufacturing there. We did our first like over $1 million a year in that tiny space. And so my husband was like, we need more space. And we live kind of rural, and finding a place to rent is kind of difficult. So we bought a piece of land and we built our first building, and that we moved into there. So the following year when we moved into that building, we were already breaking ground on building 2 because we just couldn't even foresee, right? With no business plan. We're, tying up our bootlaces and kind of bootstrapping this whole thing, building the second building and like turning into a true manufacturing space. And so that's been incredible. It's been a wild ride. It's tons of ups and downs as an entrepreneur, but I'm so grateful and thankful that we didn't know any better but to do it ourselves.
Completely.
Because now we're thankful that we went that way. When it would have been so much easier to like call up a lab, call up a manufacturer and say, can you make this for us?
Totally.
But maintaining the integrity and the quality of the ingredients was so important. And I didn't know enough about the industry to know that there were other options.
That someone else could help you make it. Yeah. But I think in that way, like ignorance is bliss.
100%. Now that we're on the other side.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So your husband, did he have like a totally different
so
job and now
he
he's
did.
working with you?
Yes.
Okay.
So he was working full time, and like, I think my first like milestone, like people were like, what was your first goal? And I was like, he traveled for work. He was gone a lot. It was like to replace his income, to replace his monthly income where he could be home, which was a really small goal, but at the time felt very unattainable. Yeah. And so when we reached that milestone and he was home, he's like, okay, what do we need to be successful? You need space. You need a building, and that I know how to do. So I'm going to have this building built for you. And thank God, because I don't think that I could have
done that on your own.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And so, and all the other parts of a business that when you're not an entrepreneur and you don't know the ins and out of business, you don't even think of, like sales tax, like insurance, like all those things. And he's like, I got you.
All the shipping issues.
Yes. And
like
so
the shelf,
I really want it to be like the creative and do all of the fun things and like have him run
the business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how has that been going? Be honest.
Yeah. So running a business with your spouse is a whole nother level.
I can imagine.
And it's definitely been ups and downs, but I wouldn't want to run Toups with anybody else. Yeah. We homeschool, so we educate our kids together. We work together. We're married. We live together. That is, it can be very difficult, and it takes some figuring out, because previous to that, like he went to work, I took care of the kids. Like that was our dynamic. And to like flip the script of I am running Toups and he's like supporting me to be my best self and do this was a difficult transition, and one that we worked through. And I'm so grateful and so thankful, because I wouldn't want to
have it any other way.
Yes, any other way.
So in terms of the kids, is it still like, how do you manage the balancing of that situation? I'm like, Timmy and I work together. He doesn't like run my business with me, but we do a lot together. But we only have one kid, and I'm like managing all the pickups and that stuff with him is insane. Like I can't even imagine
Yeah.
working with your husband and then managing your entire life of 5 kids together as well.
Yeah, and we were just talking about this last week, and in life, like he's more of a organized type A, follow a schedule person, and I'm the opposite, right? I'm organized chaos. I like to be creative. I've got piles of my organization all over, and that when you're running a business and a family, that's not going to cut
Doesn't
it.
fly.
No.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn to be self-disciplined, learn to live on a schedule, and I think that was hardest for me than him. Like it came more natural to him, and it did not come easily or natural for me. And I still have to work really hard every day at being really self-disciplined, because that is the only way for us to not just live in chaos.
It's so true, because the other way we're just like living very reactionary.
We're just
surviving and just doing what the moment calls us to do without like a plan. And so I have to catch myself in those moments where I'm like, oh wait, the day is getting away from me. Like I actually had a plan. These are the things that I need to do. So will you like plan now? Will you like plan days in advance? Do you have sort of like an organization to your days?
By a complete schedule. Okay. So our kids, my daughter barrel races. All of our kids have music lessons. Our kids also our boys ride horses too. And so like, I think it's extremely important for me to pour into their life and not put like my career first. And so the balance of putting them first and running a business, a thriving business with your husband can be really difficult.
Really
and
difficult.
So
there's no way around it.
we just schedule.
Yeah.
We've got, if someone asks me, can you do this on like, I'm like, let me pull up my schedule.
Right.
Even if it's like 6 months down the road, I've got everything there. If it's not there, it's not happening.
Completely.
For sure.
Completely.
So it's fun. I don't like to give this viewpoint that like raising a lot of kids is unattainable. If you have a career, if you are building a business, is totally possible, but it takes a really tight partnership with your partner, one, and two, extreme organization to make it all fall into place. Because I don't want my kids to say, Mom worked all the time. Mom was always stressed. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to see that. And they have.
Mm-hmm,
I'm not saying that like we've got it all together.
But it's like an 80-20 thing again. It's
totally.
Like hopefully 80% of the time they see me as like,
I'm showing up. Like work
showing
is
up
here and family life is here, and separating those two. I used to have no separation between the two because I love what I do, right? I'm super passionate about it and I enjoy it, but I also very much enjoy being a mother and affording my kids opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't have. Like, being able to ride horses and practice every day because they're homeschooled and we fit that into their life. Or last year we spent a month in Europe with them and we just brought school with us, and it was so fun, right? They just went everywhere that we went. And so, it's you
just
there's
make
pros
it work.
And cons of all the things, and we just take every day and make it work.
Yeah. It's just so interesting. Like I've been talking to a lot of moms who didn't really have careers or passions before kids, and now are like insecure. Their kids are in school and they're trying to figure out what to do. And I just feel like you are such a perfect example of someone that like this happened to after kids. You know what I mean? Like you didn't know it was going to happen. It just happened. It happened organically, and that you're able to do both. Like kids, just because you have kids, it doesn't mean that there isn't so much more life that you can grab and take and do. And you're just like such a perfect prime example of that. Talk to me about your routine, like your morning routine with the products, and then like kind of everyday makeup situation.
Okay. I'm kind of a minimalist, but I will be, I'm inching on 40.
I'm 40.
I personally haven't done anything to my skin, and I want to keep it that way. I love the way that a woman looks as they grow up, as they age, and as they like have wisdom. And I want to model that for my daughter, but I also want to look good, right?
So no Botox, no fillers,
nothing.
no lasers. Do you get facials?
Rarely.
Rarely.
Yeah.
Like you'll maybe clean out your own skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're very
So
low
my
maintenance.
skincare routine is super easy. I will either just oil cleanse or double cleanse if I like need something more. Tone, vitamin C serum, which is coming out at the end of the year. So
Which
excited.
is the toner, or not here?
I don't think you have it here, but
I love a toner. I think a toner is very
I
underestimated.
do too, because I feel like once I've cleansed my skin, that toner is getting then into those cleaned out pores, and like I feel fresh and clean.
Completely.
Right. And I feel like I need that. I don't know, maybe that's the 90s in me saying that I have to have toner.
Is it that like the sea
just
breeze phase of our life, or like the witch hazel phase of our life, where we like needed that feeling of
And
the
I just
cotton
like the way
pad
it
and
feels so clean.
Me too.
And
Me
then
too.
after that, serums and hydration. And so the reparative serum is our alternative to a retinol. It has bakuchi oil in it, which is nature's retinol. And I use it morning and night, and I love it. I love the way my skin feels when I'm consistent
And no
using
sensitivity at the beginning of using it.
No, because it's not the same. It doesn't work the same as a retinol. And then if I'm like, I know I'm going to be in the sun plenty, right? We live on the coast, we're at the beach. I'll put some sun balm or some sunstick on under my makeup and make sure that I got some SPF, and that's it. And I don't wear SPF every day, which is controversial.
I know,
right?
but I feel like now there's a whole backlash against SPF.
Absolutely love the sun.
Yeah.
Totally grew up, at the beach all the time, plenty sun. And I think that like brown spots and damage from the sun is from sunburns and from inadequate amount of vitamin E or retinol in our diet. And so that's
what
an adult,
you think, or that's what you've like.
that's the research that I've concluded.
Research. Yeah.
And so I make sure that I'm what they call eating your sunscreen, which is getting a high quality animal fat so that you have enough retinol stores and so that you don't have the oxidation on your skin, and obviously not sunburning. If I'm going to be in the sun, I'm using an SPF,
You're not just
a mineral
baking in the sun
blocker
without anything. Yeah.
And so not using like a barrage of chemicals in my skincare and my makeup, I also think has kept my skin much healthier, because my skin's not having to turn over chemicals on its surface all the time. And so I feel like I'm in a good, and I'm not 40 yet,
No,
but I'm
you
getting
look
close.
amazing.
But I feel like I'm happy with the choices that I've made. I'm so proud of what we've created, and that's my full routine.
Yeah. So a day out in LA today, like a sunny day, did you put SPF on this morning?
I didn't, but
You didn't?
No.
And you're using your foundation because your skin looks amazing.
Thank you.
So I have such a hard time with foundations, and I want to talk about yours because I usually go for like a CC cream or like a tinted SPF, something like that. But then I sort of feel like I'm putting junk on my face. Like,
Do you feel oily?
I feel oily. I feel clogged immediately, even though I know what I'm using is not clogging my pores. I've never heard of like an organic foundation before, and I've never used one. So tell me about the formulation of this.
So it's actually probably medium coverage.
Okay.
I think it's pretty hydrating, but without being dewy.
That's what we need. Yeah.
The word dewy makes me think that it's wet and maybe that it'll wipe off. And I think it's a good balance between not a matte, like not a high coverage, like full wear, 24-hour formula, like kind of a balance between that and like a dewy formula kind of in the middle. It's definitely hydrating. It's
So
not dry,
hydrating.
but it's also not wet. So I think it's fabulous. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And that's my go-to.
Do you put it on your palm first and then you use your brush and put it on, or what's your application for it? You just spray it like this and then rub it with your hands?
I just pump it on my brush and give it a go.
Yeah. I don't know. Someone told me never to just put product straight on your brush.
They might be right.
Like if you want it to be spread more evenly, that you put it on your hand first and then you take your brush. I know.
I put it on my brush.
Yeah.
And then,
you just
dot everywhere and then blend it in.
But honestly, look at my palms. Like it looks so good. It looks so, so good. Moisturized, but you're right. Not like oily, dewy.
Yeah.
That's, I think my issue is that I really like the dewiness and the shine, but a lot of CC creams are maybe giving me too much. Okay. So just a little bit of that. I think this is my perfect color.
I love that.
This is the magnolia. I feel like some people think that maybe organic foundation or organic makeup may have less like color in it, like less pigment. And that it maybe just like won't work as well or stay on as long. What do you say to that?
That is like that early 2000s health food store makeup kind of like stigma. And when we wanted to provide color cosmetics at Toups, like my number one was like, they need to be as good as conventional, as pigmented, but like, let's leave all the fillers and the junk out. And so all of our products are highly pigmented, and because we're just using pure pigments, if there's nothing else diluting it or other like fillers and things in there, it's going to be really high pigment. And so the stay is really important too. And so like understanding what gives a product its stay, what makes it not budge, what are those ingredients? Okay, can we find those ingredients naturally? And so that is always my question when we're like formulating. They're like, okay, this is what makes this product do this. I was like, okay, what is that derived from? And they're petroleum. I was like, okay, well, we can't, that's on our no list. So can you find me an ingredient that does that, that's naturally based or plant-based? And almost always the answer is yes. Okay, then the next step is to try it. Give me I want to see 3 versions of that. And then we're going to continually refine until I'm like, I like it. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
This is it.
Yeah.
And maybe that means that the way the makeup wears or the way the products go on is my personal preference.
It's your company, it's your product.
Yeah. And so like I think about these makeup companies who like their owners or their executives are men and they're not wearing makeup and they're not like using the product. Who is saying that let's release this product that people are going to love it? Who is it?
No, we don't know.
We don't know.
Right.
And so I have 5 sisters. And so they're like they're my testers.
Your marketing research.
And I'm like, okay, everybody use this. What do you think? And no one will give you real, true feedback like your siblings.
It's so
They're
true.
like, this sucks. It stinks. Nope. And I'm like, okay, back to the drawing board. Like I want people to love it. And so one of my sisters is a chemical engineer, and she's on our product formulating team. And so I could just talk to her directly and be like, find me this ingredient naturally. This is what I want it to do. She's like, okay, Emilie, I'll see what I can do. And that's how we that's the real deep dive into how we formulate, which how cool.
Yeah.
Right. And so I have 5 of my siblings that work with us at Toups.
Wow.
And like, it's great. And sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
And so like, if we have a Sunday dinner or whatever, everyone's coming over, that's no work. No work talk, like absolutely completely off limits, which is really great.
I think that's healthy. Yeah. I used to work with my family too. When I had my clothing line, my dad helped me run it. And then, which meant my mom was like also always involved just because he was involved. And then my younger sister was part of the team. And then my older brother was part of the team. And it was one of those things like when it was good, when you had the successes, it was just like the best thing ever. But then when shit went down, you were just like, oh, I wish this wasn't happening to us.
Yeah.
But I think that if you can like have those clear boundaries, like what a perfect
It's been
marriage.
really great. And so many people have advised me against doing that.
Or best friends. Like
And
I've always been like, I know I don't want to work again with family or best friends, but that doesn't mean that it can't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes work, but it can totally work. And who better to share it with than like people that I really love? And so I think it's just so unique and so fun that Toups really is like family run. Like I'm formulating it with my sisters and we're bringing this product to the world that we think is so amazing and so great. And so not only do our ingredients set us apart, but I think like the company as a whole and the culture that we have is just really intentional and just, I mean, I'm super biased, but I think it's so great.
Yeah. Okay. And then what do you think are like the biggest misconceptions that you'd like to clear up about organic skincare?
People assume that, oh, it's not conventional, like it's clean, it must be bad. And a really great example of that is that when MAC took talc out of their setting powder, there was like an outrage on TikTok. They were like melting down that they would make their product healthier by removing talc, which is like hormone disrupting and, a really unclean ingredient. And they removed it because it was necessary by a certain date. Like they were required to remove it, not because they wanted to have a healthier product, but makeup artists and people who are like die-hard fans were in uproar that they changed the formula because the conception or like the stigma is that if it's healthier, it's not as effective. And so, and I get it because I was someone who believed that at one time. But I think that with the just with the evolving of like raw materials and the access that we have, and there's so much more emphasis put on plant-based and like sustainable and non-toxic ingredients that companies are trying to stay above, like vendors and raw material providers are staying above, like they're trying to formulate in a way that we're asking for. So as consumers, when we purchase good and clean and organic products, like we're saying we're demanding these ingredients.
We're investing in this.
And so we're voting with our dollars, and they're going to produce what we want. And so the raw materials that we have access to now that are super high performance, but are also clean, we didn't have access to 10 years ago. And maybe that's why the stigma around clean cosmetics is that it doesn't work. But like today, we've got excellent access to ingredients that don't disrupt our hormones and aren't, a toxic burden to our body. And we're able to provide really awesome and high performance products.
For someone who's hesitant to switch, what's like one little product or switch up they can start with?
So the easiest thing and the one that I recommend every single time is deodorant. Because people are using deodorant every single day. Yeah. Sometimes people are hesitant to try something on their face.
Well, especially organic. I'm sorry, but organic deodorants get the worst rap of all of them.
They totally do.
Like my sisters and I are always texting each other, like, what's the new best one? What's the best one? Because none of them work.
So to me, like deodorant is an easy switch. And you're not putting it on your face. And once you're trying it, like let's say you try a natural deodorant, it doesn't work for you. Probably we're needing like some kind of detox from what we've been using for a really long time. So I tell people, get a clay, go to the health food store, go to Whole Foods, whatever, buy any kind of clay, use a clay mask, mix it with water and do like a clay mask on your pits and like pull all that out. And even now, even today, like if I'm like, oh, my deodorant's not working as good as it used to, I'll do a clay mask and boom, it's like back to normal.
No
working
way.
Totally fine.
Interesting. Okay. Oh my God. A clay mask in the pits. Yeah. Why aren't we treating our pits like, yeah, they are our skin. I like the deodorant because it's unscented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have unscented of almost everything. And we have scented too. So
okay. Amazing.
Pick the one that fits your.
Yeah. Pick your fighter. Yeah. Okay. So microplastics are obviously everywhere in conventional beauty. What do people need to know about how they show up in the products and how to avoid them?
So in the formulations, obviously, you need to be reading the ingredient lists in the formulations and at least have a basic knowledge or understanding of what we want to avoid.
And what are some of those things?
100% right off, like the most important one to me is to avoid artificial fragrance. Okay. And so we're avoiding artificial fragrance, parabens, phthalates, and hormone disrupting preservatives. Okay. And so some of the really harsh preservatives, your polysorbates, 2060, like you've seen them on the labels. All of those are going to be like affecting our hormone health. And so that's the things that we want to look at. When you're reading an ingredient list and it from start to finish, you're just like, I have literally no idea what that is. I just tell people like, put it into one of the apps, use the EWG, like just research what it is, because like we're the gatekeepers of what goes in our body. And if we can control anything about our environment or the toxic burden of our own life, it's going to be in the things that we can control, like our skincare, our makeup, our personal care products, our laundry, our cleaning products, because those things are like in your home used every single day. And so like the study that I mentioned earlier where women use an average of 12 products for 168 chemicals, they're just talking about your skincare. But like we're not even thinking about what we use in our laundry, what we're cleaning our house with, like all the other things that we bring into our home.
Oh my God, you have so much to make.
When we step out of our home, like that's out of our control.
Right.
And not to be like stressed about. But when you're home, I think that it's our responsibility, not a company's, not the government, not anyone's responsibility on what you bring into your home. Just like kind of empowering ourselves
Be conscious consumers.
to
Yeah.
read the ingredients and understand like what we're putting on ourselves and our kids, you know, and I'm always going to speak from the voice of a mom, but I care more about what's impacting them and their health than I even do about my own self. And so like everything that I bring in, I'm viewing it through the eyes of like, am I okay with my kids being exposed to this? The answer is no. Then it like, but it's how do I know that the answer is no? Like if that's on me
To do the research.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just like a gut check. Yeah. So you were saying, so you've always been direct to consumer. You started off on Etsy. Tell me like where the sales were coming from at first. And now like, as far as the country goes, like what are you seeing? Like what are the biggest cities that you feel like are most invested in organic and whatnot?
Yeah, it's just so interesting, right? E-commerce is amazing, and to understand like where your customers actually are. Where's obviously the more rural you live, the less access to education around natural products you have. So we're seeing definitely in like bigger cities, in LA, in New York, in Miami, in Austin, in Dallas, like in Franklin and in Nashville, like these cities that have more understanding of like natural products, but we're seeing it everywhere. Like we are seeing an awakening in our country of people waking up to chemicals, waking up to like, why don't we feel good? We want to feel better, and we're not getting those answers from our doctors. Or we're shopping in Target, we're looking at the store shelf and we're thinking, or we have thought previously that if it's on the store shelf, then it must be safe. And unfortunately, that's not the truth anymore. Or you know, and so it is on us now to understand that what our mom used in her laundry isn't the same product. It doesn't have the same ingredients. And, you know, I think the statistic is like we're 10 times more likely to use a brand that we grew up with and our parents used. And so right. And a lot of people will say, well, my parents used it for 20 years and they're fine. And my argument to that is that one, they do have health issues.
Yeah.
And if they don't, two, the product is not the same, right? The food that our parents ate is not the same food that we're eating now.
Completely.
The products that they used aren't the same products that we're using now. The ingredients are different.
Everything has
toxic.
been so engineered. Yeah.
And they're making it as cheap and changing as much as they can for profit at the expense of our health. And so it's kind of on us to do research, be informed, and like, hey, let me pick up that deodorant, or let me look at that foundation that I'm using, and like, what are the ingredients on the back? Is there any information on this? And just being like more aware is just the first step in, you know, taking control of our own health.
Yeah. I need to be better about that. I feel like sometimes for me, I'm like ignorance is bliss with that. I'm just like, I know some things I have organic, some are not, but you're inspiring me to take a harder look, especially on behalf of my child. Like I owe it to him, you know? All right. I want to get into some rapid fire. Okay. All right. Your go-to product you can't live without.
Glow serum.
Glow serum.
Yeah.
Okay. A beauty rule you break all the time.
Using tallow on the skin, right?
Yeah. I'm so excited to use that. I can't even tell you because I love, like, remember the slugging trend that was in? I'm
totally
sure
can do that with tallow.
Yes. Like I loved that, but then I loved the idea of it, but the thought of it, I was like, I'm not putting Aquaphor or Vaseline like all over my face. Like that sounds terrible. I don't have to read the back, and like it's gonna clog my pores. But now I'm dying to do this. Even if I have this little breakout, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It probably will help it, right?
Because it's anti-inflammatory, right?
Yeah.
It is pulling the inflammation out. But definitely start. Less is more.
Yeah. Okay. Your safe space.
Home.
Yeah.
I love to be home. Like I'm a homebody. I'm
Me too.
thrilled to be here and traveling to LA. But I just like last night I'm laying in the bed and my husband sent me a picture of our 2-year-old in bed with him. And I was like, I'd do anything to be
Just be there. I know. It's funny. It's like when you're there, you like daydream about these trips and like all that you're going to get to do. And then once you're on them, you're like, I'm so lucky. But that's when you know you're like in the place that you're supposed to be.
Right.
Like you're so lucky to
100%.
have both. Yeah. Okay. Favorite ancestral ingredient that might surprise people?
I just have to go with tallow again because it's full of fat-soluble vitamins, right? A, D, E, and K. It's full of fatty acids that are anti-inflammatory, like conjugated linoleic acid. And those things feed our skin. They feed our skin cells. And you've never been like more vibrant than like giving your skin the nourishment that it needs. And so, and it's ancestral. Why? What do you think that our ancestors actually used? They didn't use plant oils that have to be like high pressure extracted. They didn't exist. And so they used what they had, which is tallow and olive oil, the OG ancestral ingredients.
Yeah. The best skincare advice you've ever been given.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
The best.
Not to do anything.
I just think that less is more. Like there's so much out there and there's so much noise. Like, should I be doing this? How much should I be exfoliating? Should I be doing only chemical exfoliation? Am I getting micro tears from physical exfoliation? Like what is, less is more. I love a good chemical exfoliation, right? Our resurfacing mask has awesome fruit acids that are like naturally based and not synthetic. When I'm feeling like I'm a little bit congested or like my face needs a refresh, 100% putting that on, get a little, chemical exfoliation, which people are afraid of that word. They're like, oh, chemical must be bad.
It's going to burn my face.
Right.
Yeah.
But like you feel so fresh and so good after, and then all your serums are just like
right in there.
And I just love that.
How often will you use that one?
Probably twice a week.
I feel like part of me wants to just like change out all my skincare and just do this, because it's like the idea is hard to bring one thing in and then the rest you're just doing. You know what I mean? It just feels, it's confusing for us.
It is so confusing. There's so much noise out there and like the next latest, greatest product. Yes. Like I think like to your original question is like, what's the best skincare advice that you've been given is like less is more. Right. And a simple but really nourishing and effective regular skincare routine is going to carry you pretty far.
Right. Dream person you'd love to see using Toups?
I would love to really see like mainstream people who are really getting into wellness use it and say like, wow, and tell the rest of the country that they have a platform and say like, less is more. I'm using this. Most people would think that it's like not enough. And like, I absolutely love it. Can you imagine if like a high powered, someone who uses all the products comes and says, less is more. I'm using this 5-step routine. I absolutely love it. My skin's never been better. That's what I want to see.
That's what you want. Yeah. It doesn't matter who, it's just whoever. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's all I have. Did I miss anything on your end?
No.
This has been so much fun.
It is so fun.
It's like I knew about your brand. I read about it. I did my research, but it's these conversations are so powerful because now I'm like, I want to go switch out everything. I'm like so excited to use the tallow all over my face. I feel like it's going to be so my vibe because I like that moisture. I like a thick moisture without it being like oily and slicky.
And like during the day, like if I think that I'm like, we live in the South, it's really humid. Like it's not kind of like LA. If I think that the tallow is going to be too much, I just go with the glow serum and it's lighter and I really like it. But like we're coming into winter months, I'm going to be using
the heavier tallow. Yeah. Like part of me just wants to take it and just like put it under my eyes and put it on my lips.
Yeah. I put it on my lips often.
Do you have a good lip? I'm sure you have a great lip. You gave it to me. Okay, good. I'm like, I need a lip. As I get older, I feel like the dryness is all comes out of my lips. So
the lip balm is the same. It just has beeswax in it, so it like stays on, like kind of like seals it in. But I still love and it's like, and smell it. So that's probably something we didn't talk about. It's like the misconception around tallow stinks. I'm going to smell like beef.
Oh my God.
It doesn't.
It smells like peppermint.
It's right.
Like eucalyptus and what am I smelling? Frankincense. Yeah. It's so natural and beautiful. Yeah. No, you're not going to smell like a cow. Tell me, show me.
Open up the vanilla almond.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is so fun.
So if someone wants, or they're used to like a conventional smelling product, like this is our top seller, right? For the body, because people are like, ooh, it smells so great. Like you would never know that it was tallow. You're like, oh, I love this.
Wait, I'm immediately like have a sheen, like a glow. Oh my God, I need this this is also so good. Like, everyone's looking for a good body moisturizer that has a little bit of a glow.
Right. They just want to be a little shiny.
A little shiny. This is so nice. Oh my God, I'm so excited, Emilie. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was a joy.
So thrilled to be with you. I'm also one of 5 kids, but my we grew up here in Los Angeles. It was very crazy to be 5 kids here. But I give you so much credit. Like, you're doing amazing.
Thank you.
So awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.